October 24th, 1960. The Baikonur Cosmodrome, a vast, isolated expanse in the Kazakh steppe. This is the heart of the Soviet Union's space program, a place of immense ambition and secrecy. The Cold War is at its absolute peak, a terrifying chess match played with nuclear weapons. The United States has the edge with its intercontinental ballistic missiles. The IC. America can strike the USSR from its own soil. The Kremlin, however, cannot reliably do the same. This strategic imbalance is a source of constant anxiety for Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev. He needs a missile that can reach America, and he needs it now. To solve this problem, the Soviets are developing the Ars, a monstrous liquid-fueled rocket designed to carry a multi-megaton warhead over 13,000 kilometers. It's the Kremlin's great hope, and overseeing its first test launch is one of the most powerful men in the Soviet military, Marshal Mitrofun Nedelin, the first commander-in-chief of the Strategic Rocket Forces. Nedelin is a man forged in the fires of World War II, known for his iron will and unwavering dedication to the state. He arrives at Baikonur, not just to observe, but to ensure this test succeeds at all costs. The launch is scheduled to coincide with the anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution, a symbolic deadline that has placed everyone under unimaginable pressure. For Nedelin and his team, failure is not an option. The atmosphere at the launch pad is thick with tension. The R-16 stands silhouetted against the sky, a metal giant, brimming with potential energy. But from the beginning, things go wrong. The rocket is a marvel of engineering, but it's also a prototype, rushed into production. Technical glitches plague the pre-launch sequence. There are fuel leaks, electrical short circuits, and communication failures. The rocket systems are dangerously unstable. Any sane engineer would call for a scrub. They would drain the highly volatile and corrosive fuel, diagnose the problems, and try again another day. The fuel itself, a toxic concoction nicknamed Devil's Venom, is a nightmare to handle. Once loaded, it eats away at the rocket's seals and tanks. A delay isn't just an inconvenience. It's a race against the rocket literally dissolving from the inside out. To demonstrate his confidence and hurry things along, he pulls up a chair and sits just a few dozen meters from the base of the R-16, a silent, intimidating presence. His message is clear. If he, a marshal of the Soviet Union, is not afraid, then no one else should be. His deputies and key personnel, feeling obligated to show the same courage, gather around him. They are all now sitting on top of a 200-ton bomb. The repairs are frantic. Dozens of engineers and soldiers swarm the gantry, working on the delicate electronics of a rocket primed to launch. They are attempting something that would be unthinkable by today's safety standards. Around 6:45 p.m., a stray electrical signal, likely caused by a technician resetting a circuit breaker that should have been left alone, accidentally triggers the launch sequence for the rocket's second stage. Deep within the missile, engines designed to fire high in the atmosphere roar to life, right there on the launch pad. The searing hot exhaust blasts downwards, instantly incinerating the fuel tank of the first stage directly below it. What happens next is an apocalypse. The first stage tank ruptures, unleashing over 100 tons of hypergolic fuel and oxidizer. When these chemicals mix, they ignite on contact. A colossal fireball erupts, engulfing the launch pad and everyone on it. The temperature inside the inferno reaches over 3,000 degrees Celsius. The explosion is not a single blast, but a sustained, rolling wave of fire that consumes everything in its path. People caught in the initial blast are vaporized instantly. Others, further away, are set ablaze, running like human torches before collapsing. Marshal Nedelin, who had sat so defiantly close to the rocket, is killed in a fraction of a second. Only his marshal's star and a melted piece of his watch are ever found. The fire is only half the horror. The burning rocket fuel releases a massive, toxic cloud of nitrogen dioxide and other poisonous gases. This invisible plague drifts across the cosmodrome, choking anyone it touches. The acidic fumes sear the lungs of the survivors, causing agonizing deaths hours or even days later. Official figures would later state that 74 people died on the spot, but the true number, including those who died from burns and poisoning in the following weeks, is estimated to be well over 125. It is the single deadliest disaster in the history of space exploration. The launch pad is a scorched, hellish landscape littered with charred remains. The scale of the tragedy is almost incomprehensible. Rescuers arriving at the scene are met with a vision of absolute horror, a silent testament to a gamble that went catastrophically wrong. News of the disaster reaches the Kremlin, throwing Khrushchev into a state of shock and panic. His top missile commander is dead, along with the cream of his rocket engineering corps. The centerpiece of his nuclear strategy is a smoldering wreck. This is a state secret of the highest order. Admitting that the Soviet Union had accidentally incinerated its own military elite would be a profound international embarrassment and a devastating blow to national morale. The Cold War is a war of perception as much as it is of technology. The USSR had to project an image of infallible strength and competence. A cover-up is immediately put into motion. The official story is fabricated with chilling efficiency. Marshal Nedelin, the state news agency TASS reports, died in a plane crash, along with several other officials. No mention is made of a rocket, a launch pad, or the families of the other victims are told their loved ones died of various illnesses or in unrelated accidents. They are sworn to secrecy, threatened with severe consequences by the KGB if they ever speak the truth. For decades, the victims are officially erased from history. The survivors are forbidden to talk about what they witnessed. The Nedelin Catastrophe, as it would come to be known, simply did not happen. It became a ghost story, a whispered rumor among the engineers and soldiers of the Soviet space program, a terrifying cautionary tale that could never be told aloud. The Iron Curtain of secrecy descends, and for nearly 30 years, the world remains oblivious to the true scale of what happened that day in Kazakhstan. The truth, as it so often does, eventually found its way out. It wasn't until 1989, during Mikhail Gorbachev's policy of glasnost, or openness, that the Soviet government finally admitted what had happened. Declassified documents and eyewitness testimonies began to paint the full, horrifying picture of the disaster. The impact of the Nedelin catastrophe was profound. In its immediate aftermath, the Soviet space program was forced to implement draconian new safety protocols. Never again would repairs be attempted on a fully fueled rocket. The disaster likely delayed the development of the R-16 by at least 6 months, a crucial period during which the United States extended its missile lead. Some historians argue this delay was a contributing factor in Khrushchev's risky decision to place missiles in Cuba 2 years later, an act that brought the world to the brink of nuclear war. The story of the Nedelin catastrophe is a stark reminder of the human cost of ambition and the deadly consequences of putting political pressure before safety. The men who died at Baikonur were not just soldiers and engineers. They were pioneers, pushing the boundaries of what was possible, caught between the demands of their leaders and the unforgiving laws of physics. Their sacrifice, hidden for so long, underscores the immense risks taken during the dawn of the space age and serves as a permanent lesson written in fire and tragedy. It's a story that needed to be told, and a memory that should never be forgotten. Thank you for watching. If you found this story compelling, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel for more deep dives into the hidden corners of history. See you next time.